Like manna from heaven, the words fell from the sky. Evelyn Marche snatched at one of the blue leaflets fluttering down outside the royal palace and glanced at the message, though she already knew it by heart. She tilted her head and tried to catch a glimpse of the plane, now obscured by dark rain clouds in the October sky. The engine's faint whine mingled with the distant boom of artillery fire from the front, and she was seized with a familiar ache, the memory of another time and place. She stared at the leaflet in her hand. "Have courage for a little time. We shall soon deliver you." It wasn't the first time a daring Allied flyer had braved the anti-aircraft guns at Le Grand Place to bring the citizens of Brussels hope. 3 long years had seen many such promises, each one empty to a city beaten down by German occupation and the oppression of war. With every barrage of blue notes came the pain of remembering those she had lost, her uncle, sister, brother, and the man she loved. As the days and months wore on without an end in sight, the Allies' promises grew wearying and repetitious, and finally maddening in their naive improbability. Until today. Anticipation quickened her pulse as she gazed at the sidewalk, now littered in blue. She had finished her nursing shift at the improvised hospital inside the palace minutes before, and her chance conversation with a patient, a French corporal named Jean Duval, was fresh in her mind. "We shall soon deliver you," she breathed aloud, and the promise took on new meaning. She'd found Nicholas and Zoe. A wave of emotion seized her. Eve would never forget the Germans' assault on the Belgian university town of Louvain 3 years earlier. The dreadful night her brother and sister disappeared had left her and Mama not knowing if they were buried beneath the city's rubble or, like so many others, forced onto trains bound for Germany's labor camps. "Your brother and sister were on the train, but they fled near Liège with my cousins and made their way to France." Eve could still hardly believe it. Her casual inquiry into a patient's family had led to the corporal's account of how his cousins, Armand and Michel Rousseau, had met up with Nikki and Zoe on the train. The 4 of them had escaped, and with the help of kindly Belgians and French, had made their way south to the Rousseau's family home in Annor, France, not far from the Belgian border. Truly, it was a miracle. Eve couldn't wait to share the news with her mother, and she quickly gathered up leaflets, stuffing them into the pockets of her apron. At least the paper had some use. Mama saved the blank sides for making her prickings, hand-drawn templates used to create designs for lace-making. With her pockets full, Eve secured her nurse's kerchief, drew her cobalt blue cloak tight against the crisp fall air, and began to walk the 3 blocks along Rue des Sols toward her aunt and uncle's cafe. Marie and Lucien Bernard also owned the apartment above Chez Bernard and had welcomed Eve and her mother to live with them after fleeing the destruction of Louvain. Eve picked up her pace, imagining how happy Mama would be to learn about the children. Children. They were hardly that anymore. Her brother would turn 14 soon, while Zoe had celebrated her 18th birthday months ago. Eve checked her wristwatch. 4:30. If only she'd spoken with the corporal last week when he arrived, instead of this afternoon, just before he left for the POW hospital in Germany. Now the pass office was closed. She quelled her impatience. Before she even considered obtaining permission to leave Brussels, she would need a plan to cross the border into occupied France, find her siblings, and slip them back into Belgium. If that were not daunting enough, time now worked against her. According to the corporal, the situation in France was as bleak as in Belgium. There, too, the Germans were conscripting all young men 14 and older, forcing many to work in the trenches at the front. Nicky had only weeks before his birthday. He was a mere child, yet they might put him in the middle of the fighting, where he would have to kill or be killed.